Merry Christmas! Hey everyone, my name is Prince and a happy Christmas to you all. This is a historic day because for the first time in the 4 years I've been running my channel, I am doing a Christmas video. For the past 3 Christmases, I've been too busy to record anything Christmas related for this channel, but that Christmas video drought finally comes to an end with this video right here. I had actually planned to record more than one Christmas video this year, but honestly, Christmas kinda snuck up on me this year. Whenever you guys are watching this, be it on the day, on Boxing Day, or 5 months in the future, I hope you all had a great Christmas. I obviously can't tell you guys whether or not I've had a good Christmas because it hasn't happened for me yet, but I'm pretty sure I will, and if you guys turn up to the next stream on Wednesday night, then I'll be happy to tell you guys all about it. Now, as you guys know, the main thing I cover on my channel is obscure franchises. And I was thinking about what I could do for a Christmas video this year because, weirdly enough, despite how many franchises I cover now, there isn't actually that many of them that have anything to do with Christmas. Max Steel never had a Christmas special, Dinotopia never had a Christmas special, and I think it's pretty obvious that Speckles the Tarbosaurus didn't have a Christmas special. To be honest, if I'd have gotten round to it, I probably would have done a bit of a joke video like the lore of the Polar Express or something like that. But luckily, there is one franchise that I've been covering quite a lot on my channel over the past few weeks that I can do a video on because it has a Christmas special. Dinosaur King. So strap in because boy, do I have a lot to say about Dinosaur King's Christmas special. Now, those of you who have stuck around on my channel for a while will know that I am a massive fan of dinosaurs. But what many of you may not know is which dinosaur is actually my favorite. Because a lot of dinosaur fans' favorite dinosaurs tend to be really popular ones that a lot of people know about. You know, T-Rex, Triceratops, Allosaurus, Stegosaurus, Parasaurolophus, all of them. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, obviously. You know, your favorites are your favorites. You're allowed to like whichever ones you like. But me, I'm old-fashioned. Because my favorite dinosaur has and always will be the legendary creature that was discovered before the word dinosaur was even invented. And that is the one and only Megalosaurus. Now, for those of you unfamiliar with Megalosaurus, let me give you a quick crash course. Megalosaurus was the first dinosaur ever discovered in history, which is actually why it has such a cool name, because Megalosaurus means great lizard, which is a pretty basic name because it was the first dinosaur ever discovered, and they just thought, you know, that's a big lizard, let's call it Great Lizard. But being the first dinosaur ever discovered, Megalosaurus was the creature that sparked an entire new world of discovery in paleontology. Now, unfortunately, because it was the first dinosaur ever discovered, its appearance has gone through some pretty unflattering iterations over the years. But nowadays we know Megalosaurus to have been a mid-sized carnivore that lived during the Jurassic. It was around 9 meters long and 3 meters high and weighed about a ton. And I am proud to say that it was probably the apex predator of its environment. Now, Megalosaurus has been my favorite dinosaur since I was a little kid, and I actually can't tell you why, because I'm sure for a lot of your favorite dinosaurs, they were probably something that you saw in a documentary, or in a movie, or in a series, or something along those lines. But despite being such an important landmark in terms of dinosaur discoveries, Megalosaurus has basically not been in anything. The only documentary that Megalosaurus had been in that I actually recognized was Dinosaur Britain from 2015. I remember watching that when it came out, and let me tell you, I was very pleased to see Megalosaurus. But yeah, I honestly can't tell you guys why young me was so attached to Megalosaurus. It honestly might just have been its cool name, because you know how kids are, they transfix on anything with a cool name. But I can definitely tell you guys why it's persevered as my favorite all these years. Because the reason I love it so much now is because Megalosaurus is basically the definitive predatory dinosaur. It's bigger and stronger than something like a raptor, but it's smaller and more versatile than something like a T-Rex. It has a cool name, it was an apex predator, and it being the first dinosaur ever discovered is just really the cherry on top. But yeah, I really can't tell you guys what it was that made young me so transfixed on Megalosaurus, because it definitely was not Dinosaur King. And that's actually for two separate reasons. The first reason is that, funnily enough, I actually didn't know Megalosaurus was in Dinosaur King originally, because due to Megalosaurus' episode being a Christmas special, CITV didn't actually show it along with all of the others. In fact, weirdly enough, the first time I watched Dinosaur King, CITV skipped, like, half of the season. I'm pretty sure they showed up to around the Alpha Acrocanthosaurus episode, and then they just skip to the finale. Literally the first time I watched the season finale where the D-Team and the Alpha Gang summon all of the dinosaurs to fight Black T-Rex, I didn't recognize half of them, because I literally hadn't seen like half of the show, so I didn't recognize most of the dinosaurs that they summoned. In Tricks of the Traitor, I literally looked at Saurophaganax and was like, where the fuck has this guy come from? But moving on from that, the second reason is that the word shafted does not do justice to how badly Megalosaurus was treated in his own episode. Now, in order to fully demonstrate this, in preparation for this video, I took all 4 of the Secret Dinosaur episodes from the first season, I put them into my editing software, and I went frame by frame and calculated exactly how much screen time each secret dinosaur had in its own episode. And by using the full length of the episode combined with the calculated screen time, I've actually been able to figure out what percent of the episode the dinosaur's screen time makes up. So let's go over them, shall we? Out of the 21 minutes and 17 seconds of Child's Play, Pachycephalosaurus was on screen for 3 minutes and 44 seconds, which is roughly 17.5% of the episode. Out of the 20 minutes and 57 seconds of Daddy Dearest, Therizinosaurus was on screen for 4 minutes and 31 seconds, which is roughly 21.5% of the episode. Out of the 21 minutes and 11 seconds of Ninja Nightmare, the Deinonychus trio were on screen for 3 minutes and 7 seconds, which is around 14.7% of the episode. And out of the 21 minutes and 5 seconds of Santosaurus, Megalosaurus was on screen for a pitiful 35 seconds, which is roughly 2.7% of the episode. Megalosaurus, my favorite dinosaur and the first dinosaur ever discovered, was on screen for less than 3% of its own episode. Yeah. Shafted doesn't even come close. And to make matters worse, I don't even like Megalosaurus' episode. I genuinely think it is one of the worst episodes in the entirety of the show for multiple reasons. Number one, it is a horrifically cringy character development episode for Rod and Laura. Now, I know that a few of you who I've talked to in the Dinosaur King unofficial Discord, which if you're not in already, you should go down into the description and join, will be saying, oh god, here comes Prince talking shit about Rod and Laura again. So let me get it on record once and for all. I do not hate Rod and Laura, because they start off alright. When the D-Team first meet them in the Zeta Point 2-parter, I actually kind of like them. But then when it gets to the point where they start taking over from the Alpha Trio and start actually fighting the D-Team, they just become brats. Like, seriously, in the later episodes when they're actually fighting against the D-Team, they are so fucking annoying. Not to mention that in the 4-part finale, Laura cared so much about Terry getting hurt, and yet Rod and Laura are actively delivering dinosaurs to Seth, who they think is going to give them to their grandfather, who is a known dinosaur abuser in about 100 different ways. And I know some people will make the argument that they're only kids, and I guess you could have that argument for Laura, considering she is apparently only 6 years old, and honestly, I don't even know if I buy that. But Rod is canonically only 1 year younger than the D-Team, and if they can figure out that Dr. Z is a dinosaur-abusing maniac, then Rod should be able to as well. And besides, Rod and Laura had no reservations about challenging Dr. Z in the finale when they found out what happened to Rex's parents. But yeah, I don't hate them per se. I think it's cool that in the later episodes the D-Team actually had opponents that would put up a fight against them. I just think their characters were really inconsistent, and it just makes me hate it all the more that the one time they decide to try and do some half-assed character development for them, which they don't even need or deserve, is in Megalosaurus' episode. They genuinely try and make us feel sorry for Rod and Laura in Santosaurus. Yes, okay, it's fine to feel sorry for them because they miss their parents, but they are the villains! And what also annoys me is that there is never a point in the finale where they go, oh my god, we have been the villains this whole time. They just blame Seth and Dr. Z for everything, because it's not like they were responsible for capturing like half of the Alpha Gang's dinosaurs, including Saurophaganax, who probably wasn't just abused but was also mutated, by the way. If you're gonna give character development to anyone, then please, for the love of God, can we have a character development episode for Max? He is literally the main character of the entire show, and yet from episode 1 of season 1 to episode 30 of season 2, he does not change. By the end of the show, he is literally the same arrogant, headstrong brat that he was at the very start. He doesn't change. But anyway, we're getting sidetracked here. Because on top of all of this, Santosaurus actually seems to be really rushed. And I don't mean the plot of the episode, I mean the episode itself looks half finished. Like, if you genuinely look at how the characters are drawn and animated in the latter part of the episode, they genuinely look like terrible. Like, genuinely look at how poorly the characters are drawn and animated in this segment. And if that wasn't bad enough, the fight scenes, including the 30-second fight with Megalosaurus, aren't even that good. Megalosaurus literally shows up, uses one move card, gets hit with Thunder Bazooka, gets knocked into a rock, and then gets turned back into its card. It's literally a 30-second fight. It is a secret dinosaur, for fuck's sake. It's meant to be powerful. The only other secret dinosaur the D-Team were able to take down by themselves was the Deinonychus trio by combining 3 of their move cards. And yet Chomp was able to fucking solo Megalosaurus. Like, what kind of bullshit is that? So, having said all of that, I think you guys can probably tell that I'm not a big fan of Megalosaurus' episode. Megalosaurus itself, I am happy with in Dinosaur King, because not only was it granted the honor of being a secret dinosaur, it was depicted by Dr. Z in the anime to be so powerful it was uncontrollable. It was literally so powerful that Dr. Z couldn't use it. Like, that's badass. But the episode itself that it debuted in did a horrible, horrible job of getting this power across. Now, if it was any other dinosaur, I would have just said, rotten luck, the dinosaur got a bad episode, moving on. But Megalosaurus is not only a secret dinosaur, it is my favorite, and it deserved better. So given that not only is it my favorite dinosaur, but its episode was a Christmas special, and I needed a Christmas special video, I decided to do something about it. Because some of you may not know that on top of being a YouTuber, I'm actually also a pretty decent writer. And so, for my first ever Christmas special video on this channel, I decided to rewrite Santasaurus and give Megalosaurus an episode that really shows off how powerful he really is. Now, I do want to stress that this rewrite is not by any means perfect. I absolutely could have done a better job in rewriting this episode, put more thought into it, but this is just what I came up with a quick rewrite. And I also want to say that my main priority with this rewrite was depicting Megalosaurus as being as powerful as Dr. Z described it. Everything else was secondary. I just wanted to write an episode that puts Megalosaurus on par with all of the other secret dinosaurs as an absolute badass. An absolutely badass dinosaur that, like all of the others, was capable of taking on more than one dinosaur at a time and winning. Also, I do want to mention that this rewrite actually takes place before a Kyoto caper instead of after, because Dr. Z still has his bad back, and that's actually quite integral to the rewrite. So, sit back, grab a drink and a snack, and enjoy my rewrite of Megalosaurus' debut episode, which I have renamed Christmas Chaos. Enjoy! Christmas Chaos! It's Christmas Eve in downtown Tokyo, and a group of children were playing in the snow outside a large shopping mall. At the base of a small tree, a dinosaur card capsule had become unearthed in the snow, and a stray snowball thrown by one of the children knocked it open, revealing a glistening golden dinosaur card with a huge glowing white carnivore depicted on its front. As the children ran off, the Christmas lights lining the walls of the nearby shopping mall suddenly illuminated. The dinosaur card suddenly glowed brightly and transformed in a flash of rainbow light, as Megalosaurus emerged, letting loose a mighty roar. Without hesitation, he began stomping towards the shopping mall, with people screaming as he demolished anything in his way. Back on Zeta Point, Dr. Z was immediately alerted to the fact that another dinosaur had appeared, and when Ed hacked into the security cameras in the area, he saw that it was none other than Megalosaurus. Seeing the bright glow, Ursula, Xander, and Ed recognized that Megalosaurus was another secret dinosaur, and that they were likely in for yet another story from Dr. Z. Dr. Z explained that Megalosaurus was the fourth and final of his secret dinosaur experiments. He told them that out of the 4 of his experiments, Megalosaurus had been the most promising in terms of raw power, but that as a hatchling he had been prone to extreme temper tantrums which had made him difficult to control. By the time he had grown into an adult, Megalosaurus had become near unstoppable with both its raw, uncontrollable strength and its arsenal of powerful move cards. Despite his bad back still persisting, Dr. Z demanded that he accompany the Alpha Gang in their capture mission, claiming that he alone would be capable of controlling Megalosaurus. Meanwhile, Seth was busy in the lab developing a mysterious new move card when he too got the alert for the appearance of another dinosaur. Tapping into the intercom system, he was able to listen in on Dr. Z's conversation, and realizing that Megalosaurus may be a powerful tool to have at his disposal, or at the very least an interesting dinosaur to experiment on, he immediately made his way to Rod and Laura's room, sending them after it as well with explicit instructions not to be spotted by Dr. Z. Back in Tokyo, the D-Team were currently on a shopping trip with Max's father, as there was a special store downtown that sold dinosaur-related merchandise, and they were having a Christmas sale. Whilst in the store, the 3 of them received a notification from their dino holders informing them that a dinosaur had appeared nearby, and the 3 of them quickly exited the store, whilst Max's father was unable to pull himself away from the discounted dinosaur items. Meanwhile, the Alpha Gang had arrived by submarine with a wheelchair-bound Dr. Z, whilst Rod and Laura followed a discreet distance behind by jet. As Rod and Laura landed nearby, Dr. Z and the Alpha Gang launched themselves into downtown Tokyo, just in time to see Megalosaurus rampaging through the city. Dr. Z greeted Megalosaurus with open arms, attempting to calm the raging dinosaur and inviting him to come home with him. But the doctor's words did not calm the raging dinosaur, and Ursula managed to wheel Dr. Z out of the way just as Megalosaurus aimed a tail swipe at the doctor. Realizing he needed to try and subdue the angered dinosaur, and with little other choice, Dr. Z summoned Terry to do battle with Megalosaurus, and the two huge carnivores began their vicious battle. Not wanting to be in the vicinity of another secret dinosaur battle, Ursula, Xander, and Ed quickly dashed into a nearby shop. As both Rod and Laura and the members of the D-Team arrived to watch the battle from nearby, it quickly became apparent that for once, Terry was completely outmatched. Megalosaurus seemed to be stronger in physical strength than any carnivore either side had encountered thus far, and even Terry was finding it difficult to keep pace with the secret dinosaur. In a desperate attempt to regain the upper hand, Dr. Z activated Neck Crusher, but as Terry ran towards his opponent, Megalosaurus began to glow brightly, triggering Psychic Bind, a move card of its own. A pulse of rainbow light shot outwards, freezing Terry in place completely, and Megalosaurus quickly seized the moment, grabbing Terry by the neck and launching him into a nearby wall. With Terry lying battered and bruised on the ground, Megalosaurus gave a roar of dominance, before turning and charging off in search of more potential destruction. Rod and Laura quickly used their Alpha Scooters to chase after the dinosaur, but as the D-Team tried to follow them, Dr. Z ordered them to stop, telling them that he wouldn't allow them to steal another one of his children. The D-Team argued that the secret dinosaurs were creations born of his abuse, but Dr. Z claimed that they were still his children, and ordered the weakened Terry to attack them. Max quickly summoned Chomp to do battle with Terry, telling Rex and Zoe to go after Megalosaurus. Meanwhile, Rod and Laura had caught up with Megalosaurus, who had entered into the nearby shopping mall, and summoned Spiny and Tank to do battle with the powerful dinosaur. The two Alpha Gang dinosaurs managed to land a few hits on Megalosaurus, with Rod even managing to get Spiny to land a tail smash attack. But these attacks only enraged Megalosaurus further, causing it to trigger another one of its move cards, Zero G-Throw. Spiny and Tank began to float upwards, smashing through the glass ceiling of the shopping mall as they floated higher and higher, until Megalosaurus's telekinetic powers yanked them back down, bringing them both crashing to the ground and instantly turning the two of them back into their cards. Rex and Zoe arrived just in time to witness the aftermath of Rod and Laura's battle, marveling at the strength of the dinosaur before continuing to chase it as it ran further into the shopping mall. Back outside, Terry was losing energy fast as he battled against Chomp, but Dr. Z was determined to win against Max in order to continue pursuing Megalosaurus, and activated Volcano Burst. Although Chomp was hit with the move card, he had far more energy than Terry, and was still able to fight. And knowing that Rex and Zoe would need his help in order to defeat Megalosaurus, Max knew he couldn't lose either. He activated Electric Charge, and Chomp dashed forwards engulfed in lightning, colliding with Terry and immediately sending the Tyrannosaur back into his card. With the battle won, Max withdrew Chomp and ran off to find Rex and Zoe, whilst Dr. Z was left stranded in the street in his wheelchair. While all of this had been happening, Ursula, Xander, and Ed had been shopping nearby, and had discovered the dinosaur merchandise shop that was having a Christmas sale. It was there that they ran into Max's father, who immediately recognized them and told them that he wouldn't let them steal all of the incredible deals from him. Before the Alpha Gang had a chance to argue with him, Dr. Z's screams echoed from down the street, expressing his fury at being abandoned by them, and they quickly ran out of the store back to their boss. Meanwhile, Megalosaurus had arrived in the atrium of the shopping mall, where a towering Christmas tree and hundreds of Christmas-themed props had been set up. Rex and Zoe had followed it to the atrium, and Max quickly caught up with them as well. With the three of them back together, they were ready to do battle against Megalosaurus. The three of them summoned their dinosaurs, intending to defeat it quickly before it caused any more destruction, but Megalosaurus had other ideas. As Max activated Lightning Strike and Zoe triggered Metal Wing, Megalosaurus activated the final and most powerful of its move cards, Gigantic Fall. Hundreds of objects from all around the atrium began levitating up into the air and flew towards the D-Team's dinosaurs, not only blocking Lightning Strike and hitting Zoe's Pteranodons, but also smashing object after object into Chomp and Paris, the onslaught of hits turning them back into cards. Luckily, Ace was fast enough to dodge Megalosaurus' attack, and Rex activated Ninja Attack, which Ace managed to land on Megalosaurus, weakening it further, but not defeating it. Unfortunately, during the split second of vulnerability as Ace came out of using Ninja Attack, Megalosaurus grabbed him by the tail and swung him into the mountain of objects caused by Gigantic Fall, turning Ace back into a card as well. Just as Megalosaurus was about to run off to cause more destruction, Dr. Z and the Alpha Trio arrived, and Dr. Z demanded that they push him closer so he can talk with Megalosaurus. The trio followed his orders, pushing him right to Megalosaurus' feet before retreating to a safe distance, the two of them facing each other at the base of the huge Christmas tree. Dr. Z told Megalosaurus that he was proud of how powerful he's become, but that his power could be used for greater things than meaningless destruction. And he told him that if he came home with him now, he'd make him a big Christmas cake, just like he did when he was a hatchling. But still in the midst of rage, Megalosaurus still refused to listen, stomping off whilst angrily knocking his tail into the base of the Christmas tree. However, the impact from his tail caused the supports at the base of the huge Christmas tree to buckle and break, and the whole tree began to teeter, before slowly tipping forwards towards Dr. Z, who was unable to move away quickly thanks to his wheelchair. As he continued to stomp away, Megalosaurus turned his head to see the source of the commotion, but as he saw the tree collapsing towards Dr. Z, his reptilian eyes widened as all the anger left his body, replaced with a horrible, gripping fear. Because in that moment, all he saw was the man who raised him, the man who had put up with his endless, meaningless anger, in terrible, terrible danger. Without a second thought, Megalosaurus let out a roar of fury and dashed forwards as the tree toppled towards Dr. Z, headbutting him out of the path of the falling tree just as it came toppling down. Dr. Z was sent sprawling onto the ground, and as the smoke cleared, Dr. Z saw Megalosaurus crushed under the fallen tree. Tears gathered in the doctor's eyes as he crawled towards the dinosaur, which weakly lifted his head to watch the doctor's approach and let out a weak roar. Dr. Z pressed his hand to the dinosaur's snout and thanked Megalosaurus for saving him, apologizing for letting him get hurt. The D-Team and the Alpha Trio, as well as Rod and Laura watching from nearby, watched in stunned silence as Dr. Z crawled close to the dinosaur, wrapping his arms around the carnivore's huge head, and Megalosaurus growled weakly as his whole body began to glow brightly, and he transformed back into a card in a flash of rainbow light. As Rod and Laura left out of fear of being spotted, the Alpha Trio quickly moved forward to help Dr. Z back into his wheelchair, with the Doctor holding Megalosaurus' card. He wordlessly pointed for them to wheel him closer to the D-Team, who watched in shock as Dr. Z handed them Megalosaurus' card, telling them that he ought to be in the hands of someone capable of taking care of him. Max took the card, looking between Rex and Zoe, before handing it back to the Doctor, saying that it was Christmas, and that family shouldn't be apart on Christmas. Dr. Z looked up at Max as a small smile spread over his face, and with some difficulty, wished the D-Team a Merry Christmas, with the Alpha Trio begrudgingly doing the same. The D-Team wished them all the same, and with that, Dr. Z and the Alpha Trio left the destroyed shopping mall, with Dr. Z tucking Megalosaurus' card into the inner pocket of his lab coat. Max and the others soon left the mall too, quickly locating Max's father, who inquired as to the whereabouts of Megalosaurus. When Max told him they'd let Dr. Z take him, Spike was shocked, and questioned what could possibly have happened to make them do that. The three of them explained that despite his many flaws, Dr. Z really did care about the secret dinosaurs in his own way, and that separating the two of them on Christmas after Megalosaurus had saved him would have been cruel. Spike expressed that he was proud of the kids for being so kind, even to Dr. Z, and agreed that sometimes there were more important things than winning. He then showed them the many pieces of dinosaur merchandise he was able to get from the Christmas sale, and with smiles on their faces, the four of them began their walk home to celebrate Christmas together. Well everyone, I hope you enjoyed that rewrite and the sort of cinematic visual style that I used to provide it in a video. If you want more content like that, then you should check out my Speckles the Tarbosaurus complete timeline video, as that's basically an hour-and-a-half video in that style. Now I know that if there's anything that people are going to disagree with about the rewrite, it's the ending I gave it. Because I know what you're thinking. Prince, didn't you, earlier in this very video, call Dr. Z a dinosaur abuser? Why would you give Megalosaurus back to him? Yes, okay, Dr. Z is a dinosaur abuser. That is a fact of the anime. Because not only did he abuse the secret dinosaurs by obviously doing experiments on them and fusing them with move cards, but he also literally builds machines that abuse dinosaurs as well. Case in point being the Alpha Ball, which is used to control dinosaurs, and we have seen that it genuinely does hurt them. However, another fact of Dr. Z's character is that in his own way, he genuinely does care about the secret dinosaurs. Because they are more than just dinosaur cards to him, they are literally his children that he has raised from hatchlings. And while for the most part, yes, he definitely was not a good father to them, that doesn't invalidate the fact that he did care about them. That does not mean that I am trying to defend his actions against them. I know that he treated them absolutely terribly. I know that he abused most of them. You don't need to tell me that. But that doesn't mean that he couldn't learn from his mistakes and learn to be a better father to them. And in fact, this is literally shown in the anime with Therizinosaurus. Because in that episode, Dr. Z realized that he treated Therizinosaurus horribly, and at the end of the episode, the two of them actually reconciled. Which is different than literally every other secret dinosaur, because every other secret dinosaur rejected him. Every other secret dinosaur rejected him, but Therizinosaurus learned to love Dr. Z again, and Dr. Z learned that what he did was wrong. For fuck's sake, Therizinosaurus saved his life! And one thing I really don't like about the Therizinosaurus episode is the fact that after all of that, and you've got to remember that the D-Team were watching this whole thing, after seeing that Dr. Z and Therizinosaurus were clearly happy to be together again, they just snatched up the card and were just like, yay, we got another dinosaur card! And Max, the little brat, even goes as far to say, serves the old geezer right. Like, I genuinely think this is probably the only time in the entire show that a dinosaur would have been happier with Dr. Z than with the D-Team. And that's basically what I was trying to do for the end of this rewrite. Simultaneously give character development to both Dr. Z and Max and the D-Team as well. Dr. Z shows genuine care for Megalosaurus and shows regret that as his father, basically, he let things get so bad. And instead of being insufferable brats and clearly oblivious to the relationship that Dr. Z has with the secret dinosaurs, they actually showed empathy towards him and let him have Megalosaurus. And I also thought that fit with the whole Christmas theme anyway. Because despite the video I made talking about why the D-Team don't use other dinosaurs, being that they prioritize the dinosaurs first and they don't use them as weapons, sometimes I think they actually care a little bit too much about winning rather than the actual dinosaur itself. And from the way they reacted in Therizinosaurus' episode, I definitely think that that is a prime example. I just sort of wanted to have some character development for them and to have them see that it's not always about winning. And the fact that life isn't as simple as heroes and villains. There is grey areas in between. If you disagree with me, then that's completely fine. That's just my opinion. Now, I imagine some people will also want to know how the ending of my rewrite would tie back into the rest of the series. Because obviously it differs in that Megalosaurus would end up in Dr. Z's possession rather than the D-Team. Well, I think the way that I would probably do it is that I would actually replace Spiny with Megalosaurus during the initial fight that Dr. Z and Rod have with Seth and Saurophaganax. Regardless of how strong Megalosaurus is, he'd definitely still get turned back into a card by Fire Scorcher. And I guess Max might pick up the card and put it in his dino holder for the finale. Originally, I was gonna have Dr. Z put the card on like a table and then have Seth like discreetly come in and steal it, but if Seth had access to Megalosaurus during the finale, then he absolutely would have used him. So I kind of wanted something that wouldn't cause too much of a plot hole and wouldn't affect the finale events too much. I was actually gonna end the rewrite with Seth sneakily stealing Terry for the first test of Fire Scorcher, but that wouldn't have made sense considering that Christmas Chaos actually takes place before a Kyoto Caper. And Rod uses Terry in that episode. So yeah, if you don't agree with the ending of my rewrite, then that's completely fine. Again, my main priority was just to show off how badass Megalosaurus really is. Everything else was really an afterthought. But I really hope you did enjoy this video, and I wish you all a happy Christmas. Apart from the Best of Casual Prince 8 compilation, which will be coming hopefully sometime before the end of the year, this will be the final video of this year, and I hope you enjoyed. It's been fun to finally record a Christmas special video after 4 years of not having the time to do so, and yeah, I really hope you guys enjoyed. If you did enjoy this video, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and go join both the casual Discord and the Dinosaur King unofficial Discord, both in the description down below. Again, thanks a lot for watching, everyone. I really hope you did enjoy, and I will see you on another video very, very soon. Merry Christmas to all, and to all, a good night.